We're doing 1/6b today, which is dividing real numbers. Okay, so we did the multiplying stuff. Now we're doing dividing. The beauty of the division stuff is a lot of the rules are the same. Okay, so the first one is just like we said, multiplying two numbers with the same sign. Now dividing two numbers with the same sign. So like if I did -2 divided by -1, is my answer going to be positive or negative? Dividing two numbers with the same sign. So like a negative divided by a negative or a positive divided by a positive. Your answer is positive. Okay. Whereas if you divide two numbers with different signs, then what's your answer going to be? Your answer is negative. And just like I said before, if you have an odd number of negatives, you're going to get a negative answer. If you have an even number of negatives, you're going to get a positive answer. So for instance, if I did -20 divided by 5, is my answer positive or negative? Negative, right? That would be a -4. If I did 20 divided by -5, is my answer positive or negative? 20 divided by -5. It's going to be negative again, right? What if I did 20 divided by 5? Positive or negative? That's positive. And if I did -20 divided by -5, positive or negative? Positive, right? So two negatives is going to make a positive. They say two wrongs don't make a right, but it's kind of that idea, right? Two negatives make a positive. It's not true in life, but you get the idea. Okay, one thing to note when dealing with division, because this ends up showing up a lot and people get a little confused about what's going on with it. If I do with 0 divided by 8 versus 8 divided by 0, one of those equals 0 and one of them is undefined. Which one equals 0? 0 divided by 8 is 0, because technically it's like saying 0 cut into 8 pieces is still 0, right? But you cannot take 8 and divide it into 0 pieces. So if ever you are dividing by 0, that is undefined. Okay, so keep that in mind. Dividing by 0, undefined. Okay. Okay, so here's a question for you. This is like example 3 in the book. Okay. If I tell you a skydiver's elevation, okay, changes, so elevation changes by a -3,600 feet. Oh, bless you. In 4 minutes. Okay, so it's dropping 3,600 feet in 4 minutes. Who would like to do that? Huh? Has anyone? Are you guys able to skydive yet? Do you have to be 18? I'm wondering. You have skydived?
Yes.
I thought you had to be 18. You don't have to be 18?
No,
You did it?
I'll tell you one thing though.
As long as you buddy up, then you're okay.
You can't be by yourself because I know how to learn off the parachute. So that's why I had somebody on me.
Yeah. I don't know if I could handle it. I don't know. Okay, so the question is, what is the change in elevation? So what is the average
really uncomfortably close to the ground, and then
No.
complicated.
What is the average change in elevation per minute? Right. Yes. So for your average change in elevation, if it's 3,600 feet in 4 minutes and we want to know what's the change per 1 minute, you divide, right? So you're going to take that negative 3,600 and divide by 4 minutes to figure out what the change would be per minute. Is your answer going to be positive or negative right now? Negative, right? One negative and one positive is going to get you a negative. And then you just do 3,600 divided by 4, which is 900. So basically what this is saying is you're dropping 900 feet per minute that you're falling. Okay. Questions on that? So one of each is going to stay negative. 2 of the same would be positive. Okay. Then I have a property to tell you about. It's called the inverse property of multiplication. Okay, and the inverse property says this: if I have a number and I multiply by its reciprocal, do you know what a reciprocal is? Flip it, right? So if I flip A over, what do I get? 1 over A. So if I take A and I multiply it by 1 over A, do you know what you get from that? You get A over A. What is A over A? 1, right? So the inverse property says if you take a number and you multiply by its reciprocal, you get 1. Okay? So if I take a negative 4, and I multiply it by a negative 1 over 4, I should get what? I should get 1 again, right? 2 negatives is going to make it positive, and these are inverses, so they're reciprocals of each other. So you get 1 from that, okay? We call those multiplicative inverses, so if you see that, that's what they're talking about. It's just the reciprocals. So basically, when it comes to reciprocals, you take whatever you had and you just flip it over. So A over B becomes B over A. And if it's a whole number, put it over 1. That way when you flip it, you get 1 over that number. Okay? So there is with reciprocals, sometimes we're going to get into stuff later in algebra where we talk about opposite reciprocals. So think about what an opposite is in math. The opposite of 5 is what? Negative 5. What's the opposite of negative 2? 2. So if I'm talking about opposite reciprocals, if I have 1, and we'll make it 2. If I have 2/3, the opposite reciprocal would be what? Negative 3 over 2. Right? If I had negative 5/4, the opposite reciprocal would be what? Positive 4 over 5. So depending on what we're talking about, if it's a reciprocal, you just flip it. If it's an opposite reciprocal, you change the sign and flip it. Okay? So it was this. You flipped it over. It was negative. You made it positive. So it's the opposite, change the sign, and the reciprocal, flip it. Okay? I can show you more later. Remind me. Okay, so when dividing fractions, there's a tricky little saying. Remember yesterday we said multiplying fractions is no problem. Multiply the top, then multiply the bottom. That's your little key to remembering multiplying fractions. There's a key to dividing fractions too. I have a little saying for you. Here's what it says. When dividing fractions, don't ask why, flip the second guy,
Then multiply.
and multiply.
I know this one. I know this one.
Oops. Okay, when dividing fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second guy, so flip the second fraction and multiply instead of divide. Okay, that's what dividing fractions will do for you. So, for instance, last example here. This is like example number 4 in the book. If I said, what is x divided by y? If x is negative 3/4 and y is negative 2/3. Okay, so basically we're saying x divided by y. We're saying negative 3/4 divided by negative 2/3. So probably an easier way for you to write it is this: negative 3/4 divided by negative 2/3. Okay, so you're dividing fractions, but it says when dividing fractions, don't ask why, flip the second guy. So which one gets flipped? Negative 2/3. And you do what instead? You multiply. So you're going to rewrite this problem as this: negative 3/4 times a negative 3/2, right? Flip it over and multiply instead. Now this is what we did yesterday, so we know how to do this. When multiplying fractions, you just multiply the top, then multiply the bottom, right? So we're going to do a negative 3 times negative 3 is what? Positive 9. 4 times 2 is 8. And that is your answer. Okay? How about this one? If I have 2/5 divided by a negative 3/5. First of all, is my answer going to be positive or negative? If I'm dividing and there's one negative. Negative. Okay, so we know our answer is going to be negative. How do I rewrite this problem? 2/5 not divided by times, right? We're multiplying. 2/5 times negative 5/3. Okay, so we flipped it over. Now we're going to multiply across. So it's going to be 2 times negative 5, which is what? Negative 10. And then 5 times 3, which is 15. Are we done? No. What do you got to do? Reduce. Okay, so if we're going to reduce, these are both divisible by 5. So negative 10 divided by 5 is a negative 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that is your final answer. Okay, Denise? You could reduce this right now. So this would be negative 1 and this would be 1, and then multiply across. You can do it that way too. I usually just multiply across and then reduce, but you can reduce and then multiply. Nothing wrong with that. Questions on that? Okay, when dividing fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second guy and multiply. Okay? Okay, tell your neighbor, if you are dividing, you gotta pick a new neighbor for now. If you're dividing and you have 2 negatives, what will your answer be? Tell your neighbor. Okay? Tell your neighbor if you're dividing and you have 1 negative, your answer will be? Negative. Good.